Hello internet people and welcome back to another episode of Nico Plays. I saw this game on Steam, like when I first got Steam. The Kickstarter is running out of time for this game. Other than that, I don't really know much about it. I think it was suggested to me after I got Doki Doki on my Steam, so it may have some dating sim-esque themes, I don't know. Let's just see what happened. I just loaded up the game and select English. Ooh, sound effect. Trick and treat. Just hit start. There we go. The left half of the screen doesn't matter. Dang, what the heck is happening? It's not working. Whatever. Should oh no, I didn't read it. Dang it. Okay, hopefully you read it. It's terribly dark in this place. The dense vegetation makes it impossible to see the sky or light from the moon. Maybe I should play with the light off. It might be a scary game. I don't know. Let me run do that right quick. It's terribly dark in this place. The dense vegetation makes it impossible to see the sky or light from the moon. Our flashlights are the only things that light up our way. At times like this, one begs to not run out of battery. At times like this, one begs the flashlight not to run out of battery. We walk without knowing what we are already, now I can't read, what we are really looking for, or better said, for no reason. We keep walking even though we don't know what we're looking for, or better said, we don't know what reason we're looking for it. We are just a group of boys bored with our lives. Okay. Trying to create a lasting memory on this night instead of just staying home and doing nothing. Why do you live in these creepy woods? Today is October 31st, All Hallows Eve, better known as Halloween. 3 young men walk through the dark, but up until now, nothing special forest, me being one of them. Okay, I can already see the similarities with Doki Doki Literature Club. Bad English. A dark, nothing special. It's a dark forest that they didn't think had anything special in it. And the main character is one of the 3. We are doing it to prove our courage. It's too bad there isn't a girl here to see how brave we are. That was a good sentence. Or at least I got what it meant immediately. Seeing it like that, one could say this is a meaningless effort. You just gave it meaning. Whatever. To someone who doesn't necessarily approve of that lifestyle, yes, it's meaningless. For a moment, I stopped to look at my watch. It's 1:49 a.m. Then it's not. It's either the morning of Halloween, or it's not Halloween anymore. That means we have been walking aimlessly for more than 2 hours now. Oh, okay. I guess it's the day after Halloween. I'm sure that many people would find a place like this terrifying. Sure. But not the Slender Man. But once you get used to it, the fear disappears, making it feel like normal. Okay. What makes us afraid of the dark is that we cannot know what hides in it, what lurks in the shadows. That was obvious. But this is clearly an empty darkness. At that moment, I sigh, feeling how tired my legs are. Yeah, walking 2 hours. What is the point of being here? Clearly, we had already demonstrated what we wanted. It would be best to return. I should tell them. Ooh, smoke. Be smoky. I was about to speak when suddenly the atmosphere in the forest became strange. Suddenly a cold chill runs through my body. It was like any other chill, except it was not going away. For no reason, the air's temperature dropped from 1 second to the other. It dropped. It dropped. So much so, my breath becomes visible, turning into mist. It doesn't end there. The air is now filled with a rotten smell, just a little short from being unbearable. You could just say I hardly could bear it, or whatever, better worded Images of worms and flies soon appear in my mind, giving me a really unpleasant feeling. We all stop at that moment. What's happening? What's her name again? Axel. Who? Axel. Anyway, that's a joke from a long time ago. I asked, confused, while turning to look at my friend. So I'm Axel. By the expression on their faces, it was easy to know that they were just as lost as I was. Crunchy, crunchy. It was then that we heard footsteps nearby that did not come from any of us. We all got dead quiet after that. I don't know if it was out of fear or to check if it was not a mistake, but we stayed motionless like statues without making a noise. Is there a figure that... No, it's the same tree. Why am I getting creeped out? I mean, English, anyway. Criticizing someone else when I'm bad at English, alright. Just looking at each other's faces, wondering the same thing. What's happening? Oh, his name is Friend. Hello, Friend. I thought I had two of you. What was happening? As if I could know. I heard the steps again. They clearly belong to a human, or at least a large animal, but there's something strange about them. Sounds as if the person walked dragging one foot. Just thinking about it made me shiver. They had a limp. We'll just say they had a limp. Dang, why is this happening? It makes no sense. Now you're freaking out? We should have returned home before, but now it's too late to regret it. I'm pretty sure you're regretting it. I'm pretty sure that's how life works. Anyway, I have the feeling that we are being stalked by someone. Oh, you have the feeling you're being stalked by someone. Oh, brilliant deduction, Sherlock. The strange footsteps stop, but I'm still feeling the presence nearby. I don't know where it is, but I know that it's looking at me. That cursed thing is looking at me. My heart is beating anxiously. It's almost as if my body was telling me to get out of there. But strangely, my friend seemed unable to perceive it. I have yet to see Friends. It seems that it's gone. It must have been just an animal, said one of them, convinced that we were safe. I would like to believe that too. We had a sigh of relief, however bad luck would soon strike us again. I'm quickly getting sick of this game. To be frank. Completely frank. Slot one. Alright. Unexpectedly, the forest becomes darker than before in just the blink of an eye. But that wasn't the fault of the forest, but of our flashlights, which went out. Okay, so now all we can see is the smoke rolling. Of the three, only one, mine, was still working. What's going on? Did the batteries die? Asked one of them, scared, while they both beat them desperately, as if that was going to revive them. I can't blame them. The idea of walking in the darkness was not pleasant for anyone. But after a few moments, we had no choice but to resign ourselves to that. Walking in the darkness. Once more, the sound of our footsteps is heard. Because we're walking. But the silence is different now. There's no silence. We're walking in the forest, full of leaves. We're not quiet because we have nothing to say, but because we are afraid. Yeah, got that. We continue walking despite the fear that invades us. Visibility is almost zero, but we have no choice. In theory, we were walking back looking for the exit, but I cannot remember anything of this forest. We could be walking in circles and I would never notice it until it was too late. I totally read the sentence wrong. I hate the thought of it. I just want to get out of it. Suddenly my thoughts are silenced. We hear the footsteps of someone or something. Once more, the three of us become statues awaiting the presence to go. I hold my breath while feeling my heart beating anxiously. Dang, get away from here and leave us alone. I know what a curse word is. I'm gonna throw it in the video game, even though I don't speak English. I hate you. Well, I hate you too. Unexpectedly, the steps are heard closer. This time they did not disappear, but rather come at us. I can't stand it. Desperately, I move my flashlight everywhere looking for the author of those footsteps. Who's gonna publish that? Hoping for the light to reveal their identity and erase our fears. Nothing. Nothing. Is that all there is around here? Just empty air? Please, use logic when creating dialogue. Ugh. My anxiety grows with each failed attempt. I refuse to believe that it was a ghost. How dare you? Suddenly, when I move the flashlight again, I see a silhouette. Could not distinguish what it was, but for a moment the light revealed something. Quickly, I pointed to the same place, only to discover it was gone. I held my breath anxiously. It was not an illusion. I am sure that I saw something. It was then that I hear something nearby. Doesn't say anything to his friends. He's just not thinking out loud, just thinking quietly. Without even thinking, I aimed the light towards that place. And it was my friend. Dun, dun, dun. What I found leaves us paralyzed with an expression of disbelief on our faces. Please leave me with that expression of disbelief. Not to judge, but never mind, we'll just keep going. It's a white cat with eyes of an intense red which stands before us. Nah, I gotta say, that looks more pink than red. Just gonna point that out. And the fact that the smoke is rolling through the cat, I don't know. It's a style. It's a style. We'll leave it at that. Her look is not the friendliest, to say something. Somehow I get the feeling it's a female cat. Okay, that's a good acknowledgement that you assumed the cat's gender and then it like restated. I just think it's female. I don't know for sure. Suddenly she lets out a thunderous meow that leaves us terrified. I guess if it was thunderous, then it would be terrifying to some. It sounded more like a lion roaring than a simple cat. The echo of her meow is heard throughout the forest. By who? By who? Anyway, making it sound more sinister than it should be. You mean it echoed throughout the forest. Echo is the word you're looking for. It was then that suddenly an inexplicable force hit us three. Now we have a white background. I fall to the ground. A little by little, my eyelids close. Okay, I missed and. The fatigue becomes unbearable. I lose consciousness on the ground of the forest without knowing what was going to happen with me. That's the wrong pronoun, or preposition. Sorry, it's been a long time since I've been in high school. Interlude before night falls. You mean never freaking mind. It is a day like any other, so normal that it was almost painful. The only special thing that could be said about it is that it's October 31st. Far were the memories when I was a kid and went out with my friends to ask for sweets from house to house. Just remembering it made me sigh. I feel nostalgic. Some things were better when I was a child, or at least it seems like that. There were some who had good costumes, whether of superheroes or monsters. My friends and I, on the other hand, had to use our imagination. Creativity was our costume, you could say, no matter how funny it could sound. I remember that my mother once painted red my face and told me, "You will be the devil." But it seems only she saw it that way. When we went from home to home, everyone said I was the Tomato Man. Not to be confused with the Potato Thriller, or Potato Man, that's what it was. PT, Potato Thriller, that's the best game of all time. You should find somebody on YouTube who plays it. I recommend Diab. That's who I watched play it. But those things didn't matter to me since we always had a good time. If I asked for candy now, even if I had the best costume, I'm sure no one would give me anything, except perhaps a scolding for acting like I was a child when I am 17 years old. Last year, Halloween, no, 2 years ago now, I don't know, my senior year, I was 17, I tried to go out and do Halloween junk, and people give me candy. But anyway, I can't stay in the past. That was a good year. That was a good time. I just moved to town and didn't know anyone. It was really fun. I must live in the present, no matter how little exciting that might be. We're all waiting for it to become exciting, so hurry up. Back to reality, we are a group of friends who don't have any plans for today. We are still not old enough to go to a disco. Is this the 1960s, or 50s, or 70s, or... Input stereotype here. That's stupid. I think they mean bar. And I doubt guys as us would have any luck in that environment. In a disco, no, you suck at dancing, but never mind. The other option would be to go to a party, meet girls, and have fun. Everything perfect except that nobody has invited us. Not being popular has its disadvantages. Sure, we'll accept your sentence even though it sucks. Hey Axel, let's have a couple matches. What do you say? Matches of Smash Brothers? Solve it in Smash! Never mind. My friend Steven called my attention while... Why don't we know his name, if you know his name? We're distanced from the main character. That makes no sense. My friend Steven called my attention while playing with the game console. That's hilarious. Rushard? I'm just gonna say Rushard. I believe that's what the game is called. A fast and quite complicated fighting game for me. Rush Red. I would normally agree to play with him, but for some reason, I don't feel in the mood today. I have no desire to play now. If someone said that in America, the person would laugh at them, for one thing, or they would, like, I don't know, they would laugh at them, definitely. They would, like, question them thoroughly. Like, why did you say that? That's stupid. I replied with discouragement. I almost feel bad for doing it. Boring. The AI is no rival for me, Steven said with confidence. That you're playing on normal difficulty does not help your argument. I don't feel like losing, but if you want, you can challenge to Alfred. Let's challenge to Alfred. Wrong preposition, again. Or actually, don't put a preposition there. Challenge Alfred. Verb, direct object. That's how English works. I said, leaning the attention to my other friend. I don't know how to play that, answered Alfred, doubting for a second. Doubting what? English is not hard. Well, it is for me sometimes, but shut up. That's because I'm talking to a camera. He is sitting behind the PC, but it seems that he isn't doing anything interesting. You mean in front of the PC? The screen only shows a lot of text. I think he is in Wikipedia. Sure, that's recognized around the world. Hey, don't you have something more fun to do? Yeah, go play stuff on Miniclip or Congregate. It's like a ton better than anything else. Like, never mind. I'm just gonna shut up now. I asked with discouragement, without even thinking about what he was reading. Let me guess. Some horror story. I say it like that because I have my ears plugged. Horror story. That is going to relate to this game. I'm calling it now. This is going to have everything to do with the game that we're playing. Supposedly playing. Not even really a game at this point. Alfred looks at me surprised. The actual problem of society is that people are not interested in discovering their history. He is one of those pseudo-intellectuals always looking for any rare information to appear smarter than others. When we forget our past mistakes, we are doomed to repeat them. That seems like something that could very well be the theme of a game. Thank you very much, he added later. What are you talking about? This village is small and this story's not interesting at all. Nothing outside of the normal has ever happened in it. Alfred laughs mockingly after hearing that. Your ignorance is worthy of praise. No, it's not. He pauses, filling his chest with pride. Anyway, the very fact it is a small town is the reason it's full of mysteries. Did you know that 20 years ago on this date, a man disappeared? So, what about it? I ask without being impressed or even interested in the least. Things like that happen all the time in all places. As I thought, you don't know the history despite living in this very place, Alfred said while adjusting his glasses in an arrogant gesture. Arrogant gesture. So embarrassing. Okay. There's a legend behind the disappearance. That is what I was reading. After listening to him, I looked back at the computer screen with curiosity. I believe this is before the events of the part at the beginning. It was then that I noticed it was not Wikipedia, but some other page. Come on, read this and learn a little. Bad sentence again. Alfred said, inviting us to read what was on the screen. Both Stephen and I moved closer to read it. I gotta hurry up, I gotta go to work soon. Town of Abingdon, Oxfordshire country, 1994. I came to this town with only 4,000 inhabitants to support them in an investigation. Wow, I lost my spot. Truth is that never in my life have I seen something this strange. I won't say your typical detective-ish nonsense that I have seen thousands of strange things in my life. I've seen many crimes, yes, some difficult to solve. That needed at least a comma or a period, or why do you have a capital in the middle of your sentence? Some difficult to solve, but all of them were human. Even if you don't know how they managed to perpetrate the crime, you know that they are people, like anyone else. In this case, I don't think I'm able to say the same thing. Truth is that I can't understand what happened. I was called for the disappearance of a man named Matthew Graham. I'm just gonna say Graham, okay? Get rid of that extra A. 23 years old. Single, but last time he was seen was returning home from Halloween party. He had drank alcohol, but was still sober. Okay, we'll just go with that. Or at least that's what the witnesses said. Okay, so they're lying. Anyway, this is not something which can be explained with a simple drunkenness. He apparently got lost on the way home and decided to enter the forest called Oakwood. Oh, joy, in that silence I noticed the audio looping. I don't mean to be too harsh on this game, cause I feel bad for their Kickstarter not being completed, but, like, get good. I know English was the second one on the list of languages, but please. It had rained yesterday, so the ground was wet and muddy. We could easily find his traces, which were leading deep inside the forest. Apparently he walked for 3 hours before stopping. Pretty close to what we were doing in the introduction. I say stop, but the truth is we don't know what happened then. The tracks suddenly ended up in a clearing in the forest. And that's all. There was no evidence of struggle, no other trace, or pieces of clothing on the ground. There was no blood, no more footprints, or anything else. Dun dun dun! The Croods. That movie has defined my dramatic noise. Anyway. The depth of his last footprints and the position they were in indicated that he was still walking. I thought I was going to say standing still. At no point he stood still. It was as if he had vaporized in the air with all his clothes, in the middle of his walk. Obviously, I can't believe such a thing, but I can't give another explanation. The only thing I remember is that near the footprints I sensed a faint smell of rot. However, there were no animal corpses nearby. It was ridiculous to think he suddenly started to decay and become earth. In the end, the case was closed in just 3 days, with no evidence of any kind. We couldn't say anything but that he decided to escape from the village. However, while officially there was no more to do, I couldn't sleep in peace. Thinking about what could have happened to him took away my sleep. In my mind, I thought all sorts of theories, like maybe everything was a plan developed by Matthew, but in the end, they all seemed impossible. I decided to investigate more on the issue. I searched the town for similar stories, and to my surprise, found 4 more. All young men. The story was always the same. They walked in the forest alone, disappearing without a trace. Even more curious is that all of them disappeared on the same date, October 31st, but there is more. There's no space there. Ha ha ha. I'm so good at English. I'm just kidding. A detail that completely eliminates the possibility that there is a killer or kidnapper behind this, and that is the separation of the years. Roger Bacon disappeared in 1924. I didn't remember the first date because you didn't make it memorable. Michael Smith disappeared in 1867. Jason Black disappeared in 1813. Wow, that's like 50 years, bro. That's like a lot of years. And worst of all, Oswald Taylor disappeared in 1707. I'll give you that. It simply couldn't be possible. My curiosity led me to dig deeper. I thought that the answer may be in the past of the forest. Then when I discovered that what seemed to be a simple and boring forest actually hid a great story. Before it was called Oakwood, or Oaks Forest, the place was called Witchwood. Nice. The word witch has huge similarity with witch. Witch has huge similarity with the word witch. I wonder why. It's like worm, the name for dragons in fantasy novels. The Y makes the I sound, or I guess ER in worm, or whatever. No, that's IR. That's IR pronunciation. Whatever. Taking into consideration that it is an old name and language changes over time, that indicates that it was the Forest of Witches. Why did you even have to type that? Apparently more than 400 years ago, the people of the village believed witches lived in the woods. Unfortunately, almost all the information is already lost. Because it's like 200 years ago. 300 years ago. Unfortunately, almost all the information is already lost. They were stories told in voice, without a properly written record. I just know that with the change of religion to Christian, people stopped seeing the witches with good eyes and began to hunt them. Witch hunt. It's a bad time in Christian culture. Just gonna say. They thought, oh man. The history of the church. If you don't know the history of the church, and you won't have, I don't know. You can look it up if you want. I won't stop you. The last one before her death cast a curse on the forest, which even today should continue to exist. Sure, we'll go with that. Should continue to exist. Anyway, obviously I cannot accept something like that as an answer. Whatever. In the end, I have no other choice than accepting that each one of them escaped from the village, using the legend of the forest to make it look like it was something supernatural. Interesting story, but I'm gonna be late for work. I didn't know that such a story was hiding in this town. I said honestly surprised, even if it is a lie, it managed to hold my interest. One positive. Wait, there's something more, Alfred said at the same time he scrolls to the comments. We read what is written there. A couple of comments call our attention. Both of them talk about some creature. At that time, they felt a horrible fear for what could happen to them. Well, the two comments share great similarities, but they could have been written by the same person. There are many others that deny it. It looks like many people went to the forest because of the legend, but couldn't find anything. I thought that you only read these things to look more cool before the girls. Before the girls. Sure, that's English. Replied Stephen as a joke. Oh, I didn't even see it. Alfred giggles with a little shame. Men don't giggle. Okay, that's not a thing that male humans do. Thank you very much. Partly, yes. He admitted it. That was a secret everybody silently knew. Well, now we have an actual activity for tonight. Stephen said at the same time he makes face overflowing with enthusiasm. Why didn't you... It's fine. It's fine. Why am I raging at a horror game? It's fine. What? I asked, completely lost, thought we were just killing time. Simple. Let's go to the forest. Stephen replied without hesitation. He seemed really fascinated by the story. Are you insane? Said Alfred, unable to believe what he had just heard. You only needed to look at his face to know he did not like the idea. I wish I could. You could have made more character images. Despite everything you've heard, you want to go. Of course, it could be a test of courage among us three. Like, comment, and subscribe. Anyway, replied Stephen, full of confidence, perhaps too much. He should relax a bit. Don't tell me you're afraid. No, why should I be afraid? Answered Alfred. At the same time, he folds his arms, making a false gesture of security. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but we all already understood what was going on. It's more than obvious that you are afraid, Alfred. Not speaking out loud. Almost as much as when you have to talk with a girl. Whatever. Like, what about you, Axel? Don't tell me you won't come. Suddenly Stephen asks me, at the same time looking at me mockingly. Oh, I thought he was looking at his chair. I thought he was looking at the wall. I thought he was looking at, his nose. Thank you for giving overly inclusive detail about things we don't care about. Don't tell me you want to be the chicken of the group. No, I want to be the one who's alive at the end of the day. I hate that tone of voice he used. I will never give you that, I said without thinking, showing a confident smile and look. Well, let's not say more. Take your coats, backpacks, flashlights, and some food. We are going to the forest, Stephen said, full of energy. Yeah! We three said in unison as if we were going to have some kind of private party, not really knowing what we were doing or what we were going to find. Okay, here's another divider. I'm going to save and quit here because I have to go to work 10 minutes ago. So yeah. Thanks for watching. Alright, Undertale fan art. Alright. Bye-bye! Oh man, I'm slouching so bad. Alright, I'll go edit this video after work.